Good evening. Welcome to Star Talk. I'm Ken Eccles, and we're happy to have you with us tonight. I think there's a caller on the line. Let's see. Caller, are you still there?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? You're on the air.
Okay, this is Mark. Yeah, this is Mark from Marion again.
Hey, Mark.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Y'all still got the well, there goes. It's gone now.
Welcome to Star Talk.
But anyway, I was trying to see how you doing now.
Well, I'm doing well, Mark. Hope you are.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Glad to hear you doing okay. But anyway, the reason why I was calling, I should have listened to my mom about the Daytona race. She told me pick the what?
What did your mom tell you about Daytona?
Well, first, she told me pick Blaney or Christopher Bell, and then I told her I was going to pick Christopher Bell. She kept telling me to pick Blaney, and I didn't pick Blaney. I picked Christopher Bell.
Well, Mark, let that be a lesson to you.
I know.
Always listen to your mother.
Yeah, her first pick. I need to take the first pick on it.
Well, you'll know better next time.
Yeah, but anyway, I tried to call Charles today, and I couldn't get through.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I guess the way he's got a phone system set up or whatever, it's hard to call in or whatever.
Okay. Well, maybe you can get him tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Ken.
Well, thank you, Mark. Good to talk to you. So Mark has now learned the lesson that so many of us learned. Some of us learned too late in life, actually, to pay attention to your mother. This is Star Talk. We have a phone number up there you can call. Also an email address, which is keneckleslive@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you either by phone or by email. Have some more information tonight about this North Carolina program that is seeing a good many people having their medical debt forgiven. Somebody asked about that last night, and I was caught without sufficient knowledge of it. But I have gained knowledge since last night, so I have something a little more to say about that later on. Also, I think we have an additional pick for Darlington. Which phone? It's just a question of which phone should I pick. I'm going to pick up this phone because I think we do have another pick to add. I'll just take my time with this. I have nobody's in a hurry. Hello, Ken. This is the Lady in Black. I am in an emergency situation. I'm down to number 13 in the standings. So I'm going to need a big successful pick this week to try and recover. And my big successful pick this week will be the number 20, Christopher Bell. So the Lady in Black is taking Christopher Bell for for Darlington. So that one is in the book. Let's see, who's got what so far? Citizen D, the 5, Mr. NASCAR, the 11, Charles, the 43, Mr. Leaksville, the 5, Jack, the 24, Mark, the 22, Lady in Black, the 20, Leon, the 11, and Early Bird has the 9. And those are the picks we have so far for this weekend's race at Darlington. Sorry, the wind in here is blowing the great book around as I try to manipulate it. About the medical debt forgiveness, as I mentioned last night, this is a result of a deal that the Cooper administration made with 99 hospitals in North Carolina, under which the hospitals will get enhanced Medicaid payments in return for forgiving medical debt. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
What's shaking in the trees there, kid?
Well, I haven't looked in the trees lately. There's no telling what's out there, but I'm in here in front of the fan.
There you go. Hey, look, can I change my pick if I want to?
Certainly, you can change your pick.
I won't go. I don't think I'm gonna take Ross Chastain. I ain't heard nobody take him. I think I'm gonna take him.
All right, early bird skips from the
I'm gonna take that
9,
number 1.
and that's number 1. Early bird now has the Watermelon Man, Ross Chastain,
Yeah.
instead of the 9. It's in the book.
Yeah, that's good. You been doing all right, Keith?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Really, probably better than I deserve. I'm happy to say.
Is anything happening? Anything we got having any events here in Eden?
Events. Well, we got Riverfest. I think Riverfest.
When is that?
Comes up. As I don't know the exact date. I believe Riverfest Fest is in the next couple of weeks. I need to look that up and find out when Riverfest is.
Probably in September.
I think it's in September.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll let you go. I just want to see if I can change it. I think I'm going to take that Watermelon Man.
Okay, well, it's in there, and if you want to change again, you're free to do so.
No, I'm going to stick with Watermelon Man. I hadn't picked him, and I don't think I've picked him since I've been playing.
Okay, well, then it's probably time to give him a shot.
Yeah, I am. Well, thank you, Ken. Talk to you later, buddy.
Thanks. Good to hear from you. All right. Let's see. There is another one. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Ken. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you? Are you ready to announce your pick?
Huh?
You ready to announce your pick?
Yeah, I suppose I will here in just a minute.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think about all the... Now, I don't usually talk about this and don't want to, but it's inevitable right now.
Okay.
What do you think about all that President Trump has done for this country?
All right. Now, your phone went out. I know it was about President Trump, but President Trump is all I heard. Could you say it again, please?
Okay. What do you think about all the things that President Trump has done for this country?
Well, what things in particular do you have in mind? Can we narrow it down?
Well, the wall, the illegal immigrants.
All right. Well, we'll start right
everything
there.
That he's done. Yeah, everything that he's done as far as the bills that things that he's passed by signature. What am I trying to say?
You're trying to say executive order.
Yeah, all the executive order things he done. He just cleaned up Washington, D.C. There hadn't been a murder in, last I heard, it was 12 days, 12 nights and days. And,
okay.
and they arrested 85 last night in Washington. And they've taken over 1,000 off the streets of Washington that were bad people. And that's just the people that live there. It's got nothing to do with the illegals. And and now he's talking about doing the same thing to Chicago. And the mayor is saying, we don't want you here. Stay away. We're taking care of everything ourselves. But it's pretty obvious they're not. And Trump cleaned up Washington, D.C. in 11, 12 days or less. And he's been in office 7 months, and he's had seven meetings like he did today, executive meetings, in 7 months. Joe Biden had 1 in 7 months back in April.
Right.
When he first got in, yeah. Trump is letting everybody know exactly what he's doing. He's not keeping anything away from the people. And he's just informing us totally with what he's doing. And I don't see how, there's even Hillary Clinton said she would nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize if he could end this Russian-Ukraine stuff. But his comment was, I may have to start liking her again.
Well, I hope he can end that. That's obviously a hard job, and we'll wait and see on that one. As far as the border, I don't think there's any question that there are fewer people coming across the border now than before Donald Trump took office. I mean, that's as plain as day.
Zero.
Well, I doubt that it's zero. There's always somebody can sneak in somewhere and we don't know it. But what we do know,
the case, then you can't count somebody that might or may have.
All right. Well, again, let's not get off track here. Again, there's not any question that the border is more secure now than it was, and I think the numbers show us that every day.
But then it has been in history.
That's a good thing, and the president deserves credit for that. He really does. As far as Washington, D.C., I think they've been. I think you're right. They've been 12 nights without a murder in Washington, D.C. I think it's worth noting that that's not the first time that that's happened this year. They had a long period without a murder back in March in Washington, D.C. So that's a good thing, but it's not a first-time thing. Taking criminals off the streets in D.C.
Ken, that was probably due to weather or something. They couldn't get out.
All right. Well, I don't know what the weather was that day, but it's a good thing to get criminals off the street, right? I mean, nobody would deny that.
Why do the Democratic governors of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago, why are they wanting him not to do anything for their cities? And Newsom out there in California, why are they not wanting him to take care of their cities? It's quite obvious they can't.
For them. I can't speak for them, and I won't attempt to. First of all, there's a legal issue. I don't know what authority the president has. The federal government has authorities in Washington, D.C. that it doesn't have in other places. So there's going to be some legal complications there. I'm pretty sure the mayor of Chicago and the others who are speaking up against that, they believe that they are doing all that can be done in their cities. That's what they believe, and that's why they don't want the federal government there.
And it's way not enough. They're not doing anything, man. They're not. They're arresting them and releasing them. That's not happening now. When Trump goes in, or the National Guard, they're arresting them and releasing them the same day. I mean, people are saying, "Well, I'll be out this night. I'll be out in the morning," and so that's what they're doing. That's the problem with them. They got no cash bond, and Trump just put an executive order on that, and. You put an executive order on if you burn the American flag, you will go to jail for a year.
Well, that's a little more complicated. You can't prosecute somebody for burning an American flag because that would be against the Supreme Court ruling.
He just signed an executive order today that you can't, that you will go to jail, not for one day.
He can sign as many executive orders as he wants to, but the president cannot change a Supreme Court ruling with an executive order. Now, what he can do is encourage, and I think this is what he is doing. He can encourage police to prosecute somebody who burns an American flag for some other crime that they might commit. If it's somebody else's flag, prosecute them for destroying somebody's personal property. There are several things that could be involved to prosecute somebody who burns a flag, but you cannot prosecute them for burning a flag unless that Supreme Court ruling is changed.
Well, you can swing it any way you want to.
Well, yeah, there are different ways to swing it.
They'll do it until the Supreme Court stops him. That's what he's been doing. He's getting the people's attention. He's showing the people that we don't have to live this way. It can be changed for the good. And why the left? Jasmine Crockett, they kicked her plumb out. Her mouth got way too big. That girl had a 3-inch gap between her eyes, and her eyes was on the sides of her head. I couldn't understand that at all.
Well, you've certainly given us some things to think about, and thanks for calling.
Have a good night. Yeah, give me William Byron.
24. Mr. Draper takes the 24 for Darlington. It's in the book.
Have a good night. Take care.
Thanks for calling. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening to you, Ken.
Good evening.
I'm sitting here holding a document in my hand entitled the United States Code, Title 4, Chapter 1, the flag.
What's it say?
It says a couple of things. First and foremost, in regards to the previous caller, Trump's executive order only carries weight in Washington, D.C. That's the only place that he can sign an executive order banning the flag burning, that it carries any weight at all if he can get it past the Supreme Court, having to they've already ruled twice that it's freedom of speech to do so.
Right, they have.
Now, if you go on through what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do with the flag, there's some interesting spots that come down to. If you go down to Section 8, it says respect for the flag. Item K, and I read verbatim, the flag, when it is in such condition that is no longer a fitting emblem for display, should be destroyed in a dignified way, preferably by burning.
Right.
That's what the law says to do with the flag. So, when you come back, you go, all right, yeah, another executive order that this guy wrote trying to control whatever. And he's done everything from controlling how soda pop is sweetened, to what music is recognized, to all these other social. And all right, let me ask you a question.
All right.
Are you aware of social or racial injustices?
You mean ever?
Yes, and in this country.
Yes, I am aware that they have taken place.
Okay, then by definition, you are woke, by the way.
Oh no.
Yeah, by definition. If you're aware of or alert to social or racial injustices, you are woke.
Okay.
So you keep looking at the things this man does, and I ask this question. Frankly, I think he's an out-of-control psychopath, to be very honest with you. If I had him in a clinical setting, I believe that's the diagnosis he'd come down with. But I ask this question of myself. This man, I know what the law says here. I have it right here in my hands, by the way. I quote verbatim. Surely the man who wears the hat that says Trump is right about everything, should at least know what the law says about the flag and what his responsibilities are in that regards. So I ask myself this question, and I ask you this question. Why does he keep doing these things that he knows or should know he can't do?
Well, since the flag is at issue here, we'll speak regarding the flag. The White House said, I don't know if it was the president who said this or not. It may have been Leavitt who said this, but someone in the White House who speaks for the president said just a few days ago that the president recognizes that the Supreme Court has said you cannot prosecute somebody for burning the flag as an expression of a political opinion. He said, we acknowledge that and we understand that. She said, what we hope is that a person who burns the flag will commit some other infraction, perhaps disturbing the peace or inciting to riot or creating a fire hazard or something else that they can be arrested and prosecuted for. And we encourage local authorities to do so whenever there's an opportunity. But then went on again to say, we understand that you cannot prosecute somebody for burning the flag as a political statement. And I think all of that is about true. I think that is the way it would have to be done.
You know, they made a big deal. He signed that executive 2 days ago, if memory serves me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the following day, there was a report that there was somebody arrested in D.C. the next day for burning the flag. And you go, oh, really? Okay, well, in D.C. Well, it came down to this. The guy who was arrested for burning the flag was not burning the flag, wasn't arrested for that. He was arrested for an open flame on parkland.
All right.
That's what he was arrested for. So,
okay.
But at the end of the day, I keep coming back to this question. I've been asking myself for a while. All right, why does this man in this office keep intentionally throwing up smoke and mirrors and inciting people in the way he's doing it? What is his end game?
I think the president wants to see how far he can expand presidential authority. Remember the Heritage Foundation. Remember Project 2025. One of the driving principles of Project 25, among others, but one of them was to expand executive authority and to do things that would test the president's ability to expand the presidential authority, to test it in court, in particular in court, and to test it against all the institutions of government that the president might seek to influence. So I think that he is trying to find out how far a president can go in expanding his authority.
All right. Does that fit in with the little piece that's going on in Texas, with his request of Texas that they create 5 more Republican seats so he can stack the deck?
Well, that's purely a political exercise. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but Texas agreed to do it, didn't they?
Well, the Justice Department sent a letter to Texas, and the Justice Department said, my goodness, we have suddenly realized that you used race as a factor the last time you drew your congressional districts. Therefore, your districts are illegal. Therefore, we, the Justice Department, order you to draw new districts. And again, that obviously came straight from the White House. So that's politics.
At the end of the day, it's a real short line between what he's doing and totalitarianism. By attempting to stack the deck in that way, in effect, he's trying to eliminate the power of the opposition political party.
He is using, to the extent of his ability, the machinery of government to disadvantage his political opponents. Okay.
One would also say, by definition, the behavior of a tyrant, wouldn't they?
Well, I'm not calling him a tyrant. I'm not going to call him a tyrant, but I would acknowledge that is the sort of thing that somebody who wanted to be a tyrant would do.
Yeah. Do you know the definition of tyrant?
You're going to have to read it to me. I don't have my dictionary at hand.
Right, it's real short, real simple. A cruel and oppressive leader.
All right, that sounds about right.
Okay. So I've taken up far too many of your minutes. My apologies to your audience and yourself, sir. I do, but in my opinion, to answer that gentleman's question in regards to the opinion I see of the current president, well, I see an authoritarian tyrant heading a totalitarian regime, And that's my opinion of what I see. So thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks for calling. Phone line is open. There is a number. The email address is keneccleslive@gmail.com. You can give us a call or send us an email if you'd like to take part in the program tonight. Getting back to this medical debt thing, here's who is eligible in North Carolina to have your medical debt forgiven. In fact, you will have your medical debt forgiven under these circumstances. And we'll get back to that in a second. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing tonight, Ken?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I could not agree with your last caller more. I feel the very same way he does. And listening to your past two callers, the last one and the one before, I have just figured out what the word woke means in this world.
All right. Well, I have not figured it out yet. So if you know, you're ahead of me.
Let me make it easy for everybody. Woke to me means anybody or anyone that gets the political news from anybody other than Fox News.
Okay.
Fox tells half the truth. They're, I hear people say, well, there hadn't been a murder since Trump put the National Guard in Washington, D.C. Okay, but that's happened before. Everybody knows that. But they just pick and choose their facts to make that man look good. But, keep this National Guard thing, too, is just a one big distraction to keep the Epstein thing out of the news, too. I think September the...
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you
go ahead. I'm sorry. I heard on September the 3rd that some of the victims of Epstein's situation were supposed to testify before Congress. Mm-hmm. And I heard also that they finally subpoenaed Alex Acosta to show up and testify too. So he just conveniently got left off of that list for some unknown reason, like we don't know. But, they did away with the Comey lady, and, they don't all the witnesses that actually are aware of the situation of the trials that happened, just to make everything look good. And this transcript that the lady charged, what's her name?
Maxwell?
Maxwell, yeah. That testimony she gave, a transcript or whatever it was, Ken, I mean, she was so baited during that. And they come out and said, well, this thing is recorded, but they did have conversation before the recording started. So I think Trump's lawyer, whatever his title is now, was just one big cover up of that too. I mean, if they let that woman get away with what she's been charged with, convicted of, and end up pardoning her, I don't know which one would be the worst. That or releasing 1,500 people that was on January the 6th up there get away with what they did. I mean, it's just a joke.
Well, Maxwell, there are some new documents that are going to be released. Well, they're not new documents. Some documents that they have not been willing to release so far. About 1,000 pages, I think, are going to be released to Congress in September. Epstein documents. Now, people who have seen those, or people who claim to have seen those, say that there's not going to be anything in there that is not already public knowledge.
Right.
So that is what they've been subpoenaed. The Justice Department has to release the documents, and they have picked out about 1,000 pages to release, which again, according to somebody who says they've seen them, won't have any new information in them. So we'll see about that. Maxwell told Todd Blanche that she never saw Donald Trump participate in any illegal activity, which is basically that's the part of that they've released. But if we go back to 2019, I guess it was 2019 when she was tried, or it may have been 18. In her deposition under oath before her trial, she said under oath that in all of her time with Epstein, she never saw anybody participate in any illegal activity. She never, ever saw, she said, anything illegal regarding Jeffrey Epstein and any of his friends and guests. So she had already told us she never saw anybody do anything illegal, and that, of course, would include Donald Trump. I guess that would have to include Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew and anybody else you name too, if she was telling the truth in 2019. But that's what she has always said, that she never saw any illegal activity. So what she told Todd Blanche was not anything new.
Right. Well, when you got victims, Ken, that's already coming forward and saying that she participated in the shenanigans they were doing, what does that tell you about her?
Well, it tells me that she's probably a liar. In fact, she was referred for a charge of perjury in 2019 after she said that. They never They didn't prosecute her for perjury because before they could do that, she was convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison. So they said, well, if she's going to prison for 20 years, we won't even bother to prosecute her for the perjury. Both as it turned out, she may not do 20 years in prison. We don't know.
No, my guess is she will not, Ken. You know, did you see this morning's news where they were talking about the bombings in the Gaza Strip yesterday? One of the last hospitals left standing, and I think it killed 20 people of them, and 5 of them were journalists. I heard tonight it was 187 different journalists that's been killed since it all happened. And I mean, that's less than 2 years, man. That's a whole lot of journalists killed in that length of time. And Israel will not let anybody televise anything that's going on over there. And you know, I think Donald Trump could stop some of this stuff. The people starving to death, and I know Netanyahu does what he does in his own country, but I still think whoever the president is should have some influence to get that situation stopped completely.
Well, I hope somebody can fix that. I hope. I don't. Yeah. I don't have a lot of hope, but I do hope.
Yeah, I agree, Ken. All right, Ken, thanks so much for taking my call, and I really enjoy your show.
Thanks for calling. Phone line is open at that number. You can email us at keneckleslive@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you either way. Now, about medical debt. If you are a Medicaid recipient in North Carolina and you owe or owed money to one of 99 participating hospitals, and it's the big hospitals, then as of July 1st of this year, if you are a Medicaid recipient, your medical debt is forgiven. You no longer owe that. You don't have to do anything. It is entirely up to the hospitals to process that and to inform you that your debt has been canceled. So that's one thing. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Mr. Eccles.
Hello.
Should I wait to listen to you on my TV and then respond that way?
No, you can go right ahead. Never mind what you hear on TV.
I'll get it real close so we get some good feedback going too.
All right, good. Good idea.
Well, I am apprehensive to say this, but I also, it always grates on my nerves when I listen to various forms of media, and it bleeds through here on the local media as well, where you have two obvious sides. And I'll preface this by saying that I consider myself a very down the middle person. I'm about the information. I'm about the facts. I don't predetermine my choice based on who or what. You could call yourself a Republican, a Democrat. You could be Trump. You could be Kamala Harris. You could be anybody. Forget your name and all that. Just give me the information and let's see what's best. Okay, that's where I try to come from.
Okay.
And when I listen to all of these callers here, and not just on this show, but in general, it's the nation as a whole. It's like people decide, they make up their mind. It's like a team. I'm for the Steelers, I'm for the Patriots, whatever. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, and everything. It's like you argue that the other side is totally wrong. The gentleman that called in and you made the point when he said there's 0 people coming across the border. You made the point, well, certainly there's some. In my opinion, he loses his entire argument when he starts trying to argue the fact that there's 0 people. That any logical person would look at the fact if you had thousands and thousands of people coming across the border, and now we've put some sort of hold to it, at a minimum, there's going to be a few, a dozen, tens, maybe hundreds that are sneaking through the bushes, getting across here somehow. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm pretty sure there's still drugs coming over the border. I'm pretty sure there's still people coming over the border. But the logical thing is it's less than what it was. And it's certainly a dramatically less number than what it was.
True.
That's just, to me, that's just whichever way you feel about it, open borders, closed borders, whatever, that's just the facts if you look at it. And I'll say this, but I'll say this and I'll move on. It works the other way too. The liberal callers as well. Trump is just completely wrong. He's just the worst person. It's like, I don't care who you are or what side you're on. You can find positives and negatives with anybody and anybody's policies, because certainly whether you are a Republican or Democrat, there's things that Trump has done that has either hurt or helped you personally.
Sure.
That's just the reality. Anyways, I'll move on to the issue that's kind of on my mind. When we're talking about this National Guard stuff, on the surface, I don't necessarily think that, to me, that's kind of a last straw. You certainly don't want the federal government interfering with a state and or even down to a city. However, I think if you look at it logically, Chicago has more murders than some countries have.
Sure.
The city.
Yep.
And, people have gotten complacent. It's like there's good parts of the city and there's bad parts of the city. There are parts of Chicago that people, period, just will not go to. And then at the same time, there's safe areas. If you go into a Chicago Cubs game, I don't think you really have to worry about anything, but you go 10 miles down the road and you're almost in a war zone. So if the city is unable to control something that is now beginning to be what I would say a problem that affects the nation, then the federal government there's no right answer. You know what I'm saying? There is no right answer. It's how you personally feel. But me personally, I'd love to see the city get cleaned up. It's obviously not going to do it on its own.
Well, there are Detroit is another city that falls pretty much into that same category. Now, I was in Detroit 2 months ago. Went to a baseball game and walked around in downtown Detroit. I didn't see any trouble, didn't have any trouble, didn't hear of anybody having any trouble. It was a very, very pleasant day and a lot of interesting things in downtown Detroit. Now, would I walk, say, 10 blocks out of downtown Detroit? No, I wouldn't. I would not go there. Because if I went to some of those places, just as in Chicago, then chances are I would see and hear and probably have a lot of trouble. So the question, the question for the National Guard is, if the National Guard goes to Chicago, are they going to go into the South Side Chicago? Is the National Guard going to go into those neighborhoods where people are being murdered at enormous rates? Or are they going to walk around in the places where they will be visible to the public? Now, in DC, they've done most of their patrolling. They have done in the tourist areas of DC. They've done very little patrolling in the neighborhoods of DC where crime is at its worst. So if you're going to send the National Guard to Chicago or anywhere else, you're going to need to send them where the crime is.
Well, here's the thing too. You look at it, you say, okay, well, we're stopping murders. That's a good thing. We're stopping violence. That's a good thing. But at the same time, it sets a precedent that for something less important, now the National Guard could. You see, that's always the concern and the worry. I don't think there's any doubt that in a lot of these large cities, the violence has gotten out of hand. And
certainly
due to the current the current situation with police officers is tough. I mean, it's difficult for them to do their job without infringing on people's rights. It's just, that's it, period. I'm not, either way you look at it. It's for their safety as well. I mean, it's a tough job. And,
well, I don't know any police officers in Chicago or DC or any of those cities, except I do know somebody who's a police officer in Buffalo, New York. Now, Buffalo is on a smaller scale, obviously, than Chicago, but it's the same pattern. Downtown Buffalo, really nice. You get away from downtown Buffalo, you risk your life. This Buffalo police officer told me that I'm quoting him, that we are starved for resources. We don't have enough officers. We don't have enough money. We don't have the
not only that,
to
let me
equip
interject.
ourselves to be equipped. What has to be done is we have to have more resources. And I think that's probably true of every city.
That's 100% true. But add into that, that's what I was trying to think of. It's the quality of hire. The quality of hire that they can get now has dramatically gone down over the last several years. I mean, and that goes to what you said, resources, your ability to pay for quality hires.
Well, anywhere you have a lot of people living close together, such as in a city, there's going to be crime. Human history has told us that. But there doesn't have to be just the rampant, out of control crime that we obviously are seeing in some of our cities now. We have to find an answer. Maybe the answer is more resources going to those cities. Maybe the answer is the National Guard. But whatever the answer is, we need to be looking for it.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'll hang up and listen to your answer. I've taken up enough of your time. What do you think is, I can't even think of how to ask this, but what is the line at which it becomes reasonable for the federal government to step in and order the National Guard? I mean, I would think that before the president would order the National Guard to a city, that would be the governor asking for the National Guard to come to the city. But it's completely gone beyond that. So obviously Trump is a very proactive president. Again, whether you like him or not, he looks at something like that and he'll just go over normal procedure. But so I guess that's my question is really, what is the line that have we already crossed it? Have we not gotten there yet? I mean, what is the line? So I'll hang up and listen to your answer.
All right. Well, thanks for calling. At what point do we declare that this is out of control to the degree that the federal government has to come and take over? I can't answer. I wish I knew the answer to that. we have to rely on officials, the people we elect to office, whether we elect them to office in Washington or whether we elect them in Chicago. We have to rely on them to, in good faith, recognize where that point is and to act accordingly. Because I don't know, and I'm not. I know I heard a talk show host one day, don't ever say I don't know. Always know everything. Well, I don't. I wish I did. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Ken. Let me cut my TV down right quick.
Okay.
I agree with you 100%. The answer is resources. Now, if your main objective is to curb down crime, why would you cut the budget of law enforcement when they've been begging and starving for resources for the past 10, 15 years?
I don't know. I don't know why you would do that, but we saw it done.
Right. We have seen it done, and this right here is just a political stunt. I'll give you some evidence. All right, the Speaker of the House, the area he live in down in Louisiana, it is one of the highest crime places it is. But no National Guards have been sent or mentioned to be sent down to the Speaker's area. He have targeted Democratic cities and all, and want to send National Guards there to emphasize and magnify what goes on in those cities. But if it became legal, when it's not right now, to do that, he should do that on the rate of the crime, whether it's in a blue area or a red area. And another thing that we have to look at, those guards walking through the mall up there in D.C., where crime has been reduced 30%. But those guards walking around doing a photo op are costing the taxpayers $1 million a day. So those are some things to think about, and appreciate it, time, Ken. And look, let me have number 30. Go
Hang
ahead.
on a second. Okay, the Liberal takes the 30 for Darlene.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you this.
Okay.
Let's take Chicago as an example. Now, you know what's going on in Chicago, not in downtown Chicago, not in the tourist areas of Chicago, but in the South Side neighborhood. We understand, we know what's going on there, and it is horrible. The city of Chicago has not been able to bring that under control. Is it then? Is it then unreasonable to talk about deploying the National Guard to those neighborhoods to try to reduce some of this if the city hasn't been able to do it?
Well, just like you spoke about the officer you spoke with, first, work with the city, give them the resources that they call for. If they need more officers, give them more officers. Then, after you've done that, then if you see they need assistance, then talk about the assistance. But don't cut the city's resources and cut officers and expect the condition to get better because of your cut. When we all know less people, it's going to be worse.
All right. Well, yeah, resources, it's a big part of the answer, and I agree with that, and we should not cut those resources. we should give police more resources in these areas. But that's a long term, that's going to take a while. What about tomorrow? Who's going to be killed tomorrow night in Chicago? Is it or is
All
it
right.
not a good idea if you could put a National Guard in there now, and that kid who's going to be murdered tomorrow doesn't get murdered tomorrow? Would that
All
not
right.
be worth it?
I'm going to tell you why that won't work, Ken. Because these guards are going to have to go through a training program. They're going to have to go through training that takes time to deal with city people and to deal with citizens and protests. These guards are already talked about. They setting up a training program. That's going to take time also. You can't just pull the National Guard and put them in situations like that because they're not trained for that. So since it's going to take time on both of them, we have to be patient, but give them what they need to work with. If that fails, look at your alternative.
Well, we are out of time.
All right, Ken. Enjoy yourself.
Thanks for calling. And Liberal has the 30 for Darlington. I'm going to talk about the medical debt relief tomorrow night because it's a pretty important thing, and we will get to it. But right now, we can give this caller 45 seconds. Caller, you've got 45 seconds.
Ken, this is Briscoe from Huntsville.
Hey, Briscoe.
Back on the subject of the American flag.
Yes.
I have flown the American flag on my house for more years than I can remember. Of course, the weather and whatever has deteriorated it. What is the proper way to dispose of the flag when I replace it?
Well, according to the United States Code, which somebody read to us earlier, the proper way to destroy a flag that is no longer fit to be displayed is to burn it in a very dignified and respectful manner.
That's the answer I wanted. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for calling, Briscoe. The key words there, dignified and respectful. And that's all the time we have for Star Talk tonight. We're on the air Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Ken Echols.